Jimi, he got tired of doing the tricks, playing with his teeth and with the guitar behind his back and all the gimmicks, burning a guitar. It kind of got to be stale for him. And Jimi didn't like his own voice. Now, he and I were really tight. He gave me a Picasso painting. He's a beautiful man. He was truly a selfless man. But Jimi wanted to do something different, as he always did. He wanted to play with the band, and he didn't want to be in the spotlight anymore. Jimi didn't like the sound of his own voice. Whenever he'd play a piece of music for me, you better not say anything during the instrumentals. But when he was singing, he'd be blah, 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 blah. And I said, hey, you asked me to listen to this piece. That's part of the piece. I want to hear your voice. You know, he didn't like his own voice. But Jimi got tired of doing the gimmicks things, and he wanted me as a pantomime who he called a musician in silence. Thank you, Jimi. And he wanted me to be his front man. Now, it would take some breaking in because those girls especially, really like to see him play with that guitar between his legs and all the tricks that he used to do. But it bored him, you know. He wanted to get to a higher plane. He wanted to work with orchestras. He wanted to work with electronic music. He wanted, you know, he saw new horizons. But honestly, between you and me, I think he checked out voluntarily. Not suicide. I think he came to a crossroads. He was on his back, and yes, he had vomit in his throat, and that's what biologically killed him. But I think it had been a crossroads he had been to before, and he said, well, you know, I didn't take that road last time. I think I'm going to take it. Because he was a very adventurous man, you know. He got smuggled into Tibet. That's where he got the ring, Purple Haze. That song is about a woman who manifested in the Himalayas in front of him and put this ring on his finger. It's made of purple jade. An amazing ring. And he gave that to me too. Someone stole it from me, but it was a gift. So he and I were very, very tight. And we had plans. And then he died. You know? And I miss him. He was a very special, special human being. You know, like I told you before, that, and I'm not sure if I told you, but I'm going to tell you now, that in order to survive a full chronological life on this planet, you got to be a little dirty. You got to be a little corrupted. You got to be a little humanistic. Very few people I've met in my life that would give you the shirt off their back in a snowstorm, and Jimi was one of them. So was Janis. I was her boyfriend for 3.5 weeks, which is about the longest relationship I think she ever had. That's another story. There will never be another Janis, because Janis lived her music. And the reason she died, and I told her, don't go back to Texas. Don't go back to your hometown where everyone treated you so badly. They really did. She was the pariah in that little town. And she said, I want to go back and see my friends. I said, Janis, you didn't have any friends there. Don't go back. And she went into a deep depression because of that trip to Texas. Because now suddenly everyone's her best friend when they kicked her when she was down. You know, literally. And it just made her sick. And Janis, at that time, was in the group called Pearl. And she lost her vocal cords. So she lost an important part of her vocal cords, no longer functioned. She could never do that stuff, you know, anymore. And she said, hey, that's it. I'm finished. And then she looked at my face and said, at least I won't have to grow old.